Yes, Denise. Yes, Brendan. Yes.
What's going on?
Hey, how are we doing?
Good.
Good. Great to see
Excited to
you
see you
again.
guys again. Yeah.
Oh, Amy's here too. Sweet. What's going on?
This is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you said last week you had some things to share. I'm like really excited to check it out, and Denise too. Hey, Brendan.
Hey man, how's it going? Thanks for
Great.
hosting.
Of course, I love your new background.
Ah, yes. A lot of tie-dye.
You got like the fire and ice thing going there.
Yeah, it looks sweet.
Thank you.
So how's everybody doing? How's your week? Anything to report?
Dream wise or just in general?
Well, I mean, in general, or dream wise for sure.
Well, I've let out a lot in the last week with throughout several groups and everything, and like just kind of things are slowly getting a little bit better. Getting used to this new unknown shift,
Hmm.
but that's a whole nother story. So I'm just
Okay.
riding the wave right now.
Okay. All right. All right. Um, Amy, last week you were really excited to share something. I know that. Are you still is it still a thing?
Yeah, it is.
Are
If
you,
you-
do you
you're if you're
is it
interested in hearing it.
Oh, absolutely. I don't want to put you on the spot. These things are they can be kind of private, whatever, but I don't want to put anybody on the spot. So if it's something you want to share, please go right ahead.
Sure, I'd love to share it. As you guys all know, I joined Benny's group a couple weeks ago, and it was a huge undertaking. I remember before the call, I was like, I can't do this. I can't do this. And I'm like, yes, you can. You've got to do this. Because I've always had this like aversion with computers and learning it. So, um, days after I had this, I've been having these dreams that, I mean, I can go into that after, but these recurring dreams. But I had a different dream this night. I had a dream that a bear came in my house, and I was like, I have to befriend him or he'll kill me. So I laid down beside the bear in my dream and I didn't move because I said, if I move, I'm going to upset him and he's going to get mad and growl and scratch me. And then the more I was laying there, I'm like, I just befriended him and we became friends. And he left. He left the house. And I remember just touching him on his snout and saying, see you later. And it was like it was a dog relationship. So it was really neat how, when I pushed through some really scary things, that this dream had come and I woke up feeling so great.
Wow, that gives me some chills. That is very cool dream. Very cool. Do you have any particular associations with bears?
Yeah, I've had many elderly people, like I'm an apple picker. I go out in the country and pick apples, and they're always like, watch out for the bears. And I'm like, there's bear poop everywhere is when I'm picking the apples, but I'm not scared. But they were trying to make me scared of going to the woods, even camping. So it was a psychological thing too.
Wow. Wow. Um, the bears are a very interesting, well, for me, they're a very interesting symbol in dreams. I've had some super cool dreams where there were bears in them. As a symbol, uh, I mean, they can be lots of different things. I mean, they're, they're of the biggest, most powerful, most wild animals there are, and uh, and they can definitely, conjure up a feeling of fear. But that is such an incredible dream for you, especially given the context of what you're kind of dealing with in your life. You're coming up against something that's super scary for you, something brand new, and you're um, encountering, facing these big emotions and these big fears, um, and bravo, like you pet that big old bear on his nose and sent him on his way, and that's really incredible. It's awesome.
Well, I think too, in our dreams, that when we, like, it's just in my experience, like when I have a dream that I don't just fall down and give up, I wake up feeling better.
Hmm.
Like if I can, like I can feel myself mentally working in my sleep through things. And then like I find my dream is that one thing that depends how when I wake up in the morning, like I feel a different energy.
Hmm. So it sounds like that um, you have an ability or an inclination to be quite lucid in your dreams.
Okay.
It's interesting. It sounds like it sets the tone for you. Like whatever comes up in your dream, it's like your subconscious setting the tone for the next day. It's
Yeah,
interesting.
that does sound like it, Denise. Yeah.
Is
And
So
that
were
that,
you,
res
yeah.
sorry, no,
Oh,
were you completely lucid the whole time, or at a certain point did you kind of realize that you could communicate with the bear?
That's a good question. Like, is lucid dreaming being aware of what's going on?
Think so.
yes.
Yeah, like I did. I felt like so, like it wasn't one of them dreams that you had to pinch yourself. It just felt very real and quite like helpful.
Hmm. Yeah. Um, I rarely have dreams where I'm that lucid, where I'm that aware. So it's really cool to hear that that seems like a pretty common experience for you.
Yeah, that's cool. To me, lucid dreaming is a little bit m more like beyond that, like where I'm aware of what I'm dreaming and I can make the conscious decision of what direction to take the dream in. It's like my subconscious and my conscious are both involved in it. It's so weird.
Yeah, I can only count on like one hand how many times I've actually lucid dreamed before.
Hmm.
Usually I don't feel like I'm in control.
Hmm.
It's a rare treat for sure.
Yeah, it's rare. I can say only a handful of times.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm so excited to see all of you here. Max, welcome. Conrad, welcome. You're both are well, Max, this is your first time to the call. Conrad, you just joined the group, so welcome. Nice to see you.
Yeah, thanks. It's a pleasure to be here. Unfortunately, I'm just driving right now for another 7 minutes, but then I'll be able to take part more in a few minutes.
Yeah, that's fine. I don't have any agenda really. Just kind of still kind of feeling this whole thing out. This is a co-creative space. I'm still not 100% sure what this community is going to be. Um, I have my ideas and stuff, but I'm really looking forward to seeing how it kind of creates itself, shapes itself, and what it turns into. So thanks
Yeah,
for being
for
here.
oh no worries. So for lucid dreaming, I have multiple stories about that from my own personal experience. I've lucid dreamed many times before, especially when I was young. I trained myself to lucid dream. Actually, my dad helped me, helped train myself through hypnotism. And that was to stop, like, you're gonna laugh, but it was to stop my bedwetting. So I was a bit of a excitable kid where, so if like someone was visiting or if some big event was going to happen or whatever, I would inevitably wet the bed, like up until like 8, 9 years old. And so yeah, so but I'll you know what, I want to pay attention to where I'm driving right now, so I'll get to that in like whatever 5-10 minutes. Okay.
Awesome. Great. Thank you.
That reminds me of Inception. I feel like, your dad got into your mind and like incepted you into like, but in a good way, not like in a Christopher Nolan way.
Well, okay. I guess I could still. So it was actually more. So he was just doing basically. It's not real like hypnotism as you'll like think hypnotism is. Just like a very soft hypnotism, basically, where you're going into a relaxed state. Your mind is blank. You're able to receive information. You're just basically trying to program your subconscious, right?
Yeah.
So he was programming my subconscious, because what would happen is I would have these dreams where I would be on adventures and stuff. And in the middle of the dream, I'd feel like I have to go to the bathroom. But because I wasn't lucid, I wasn't aware, I would just be like, oh, like I can just go here. and then you wake up. Right. So it was one of those like those funny things, right? So he like a few times he did it with me where he was like, in the dream, you will become aware of that you're dreaming, and you will be able to understand that you're dreaming, and then you will be able to pull yourself out of the dream and go to the washroom, basically, right?
Mm-hmm.
And literally within a week or two, it was working. And I suddenly, it was almost like hilarious, because I remember the first dream where I lucid dream. I remember it vividly, and like I guess I was like 8 or 9 years old. I was in a white van. I was with a bunch of buddies. We were like getting taken somewhere in this van, not in a bad way. It's just for like having fun joyride. And I was fooling around with my buddies. We were playing some game in the back, and I felt like I had to go to the bathroom. And then suddenly I was like, oh, but wait, I'm in a dream. I can't do this. And then there was like this feeling of like, no, you really want to go back to bed. Like, when you get this lethargic feeling. And then I was like, no, I'm in a dream. Shoot, I'm in a dream. I got to get up. And then, so that was the first time I got up and did that. And then kind of once you do that a couple times, it comes more naturally. Maybe I'm not even lucid dreaming, and I was just still able to wake up, right?
Yeah.
But after that, I started to be able to concentrate on being a lucid dreamer by thinking about it before I went to bed. So I would concentrate on like just reminding myself that when I'm dreaming, I'm gonna know it's a dream. And I wanted to control how to fly. So I had some flying dreams where I would fly in certain ways, and I wanted to be able to control it. And I was able to do that. I did it many times, dozens and dozens of times, where I got really good at it. I could control my flight. I actually pushed air. What I concentrated on was solidifying air underneath me. In a way, I actually concentrated. It sounds like a superhero type move. I basically made the molecules hard in the air, and I pushed up. And I could do it sometimes by holding my breath as well, where I would hold my breath and I would go up. And then that led to me getting into issues that was passed on by my father, which is when you hold your breath at night when you're sleeping. So I had to stop doing that. So, but yeah, but that's and then in adulthood, I have lucid dreamed very occasionally, but as an adult, very, very occasionally, not very often at all.
Wow. Wow, what a cool story. So, what what had your father be so so open to this idea that he would even know to do that as a solution?
Well, he was a real cool dude in terms of wanting to learn more about, just gain knowledge about many different things, esoteric things. So he had read many books about hypnotism and studied hypnotism. So he had already practiced that. He had practiced trying to send signals like mind to mind. Like done experiments with that with him and my mom, his wife, before I was born, with some success. He tried that with me later on too when I was older, and like we felt that we had a very good connection. You know, it just obviously something like that works much better if you have a really good connection with somebody. Oh my God, what's that? I'm stuck here.
Well, that's okay.
Yeah.
We can let you drive for a minute. Thank you for.
No, I'm just trying to park now, but now I put myself into a spot here, and this guy, like, he's blocking the way, and he's just like, yeah, you have to wait there forever. There we go. But yeah, so he did all kinds of stuff like that. So he was really into that kind of thing, and obviously they were trying to solve my bedwetting problem at the issue, which was a real issue to solve at the time. And I was like, obviously, you know, as a kid, you're just mortally embarrassed about that kind of shit, right? So now as an adult, I can talk about it and joke about it, but when it's happening, it's not really funny, and it's like you know, it's something you definitely want to solve, right? So
It is mortifying, right?
it is, yeah, in a lot of ways, yeah, for sure. Like, yeah, and it's like, you know, you can't sleep over at people's houses and stuff, you know, when you're at an age when you should be able to, right? That kind of junk.
Sure.
So yeah,
So we happen to have a hypnotist here in the group. Brendan, what do you hear in what he's saying? Is there any like anything in some like insight you could glean from his story, from like what his father did, or um, is there anything there for you?
I think that the most important aspect is that everyone was on the same page with making that change, and that you guys were just using that strategy over and over again, and the repetition probably had a great deal to do with how effective it was for you. The fact that you would keep going back to this idea, replaying it over and over, that probably had super helped empower you to become, you know, completely free of that habit. So that's a really beautiful story, man. I'm glad that you've had that positive experience.
Hmm.
yeah, and like, I think the end benefit of it was I literally considered it, I still consider it a bit of a superpower, that I was able to like so powerfully like control my lucid dreams, as you know, for a long stretch of time. And I think probably that it started to peter out probably just right around puberty for whatever reason. Maybe I was thinking too much about girls then or something. I don't know. But but yeah, so it was something that was really like, I felt it was like so cool. Like I like talk to my sister or other people about my dreams, and they're like, that's so cool. Like I can't do that.
Wow.
Yeah.
And using hypnosis as a strategy to help yourself step into that lucid dream, I think that's a really brilliant idea. And I think that's something that definitely has a lot of validity to it. If anyone here would like to experiment with that for themselves, you know?
Well, and I
I'm
think,
in.
go ahead.
I was just to say, I volunteer absolutely, Brendan. Let's do that.
All right. Sounds good.
But as you alluded to, you know, I think some of it is, or a lot of it is, literally you're thinking about it, you're concentrating on it, you're setting yourself up so that when you are in this state of, you know, semi-consciousness, or you're operating totally from your subconscious, because you've prepared yourself, you know, it's going to kick in at some point. You know, you're going to be able to be like, oh, I'm in a dream. Oh, I can do what I want. I don't have to be afraid of this guy chasing me. I just turn around and, you know, do something, and it's like, oh, he's gone. You know. Yeah.
Well, I really appreciate you sharing this story because one thing that I do know that I want to do with this community is use it to help people to make changes in their waking lives, you know, to like repattern behaviors or even just to recognize things that um, that may not be working or may not be working so well. And my experience with dreams and and that kind of thing is seeing that there's a absolutely undeniable direct correlation between like you know, the recurrence of dreams and symbols in my dreams, and then like the in patterns and behaviors and themes and things that are happening in my waking life. And I've been able to um, you know, recognize things in my dreams that I wanted to like correct or make better in my waking life, and I've been very successful doing it that way. So it's a really great example of how that can be done. And
I remember as a when I was like maybe 6, 7 years old, um, more like 6, I had a lot of reoccurring nightmares. And I remember talking to like a family friend. He, like my family, you know, were friends with this other family and their son, and we were like cousins. Like he was like about the same age as me. And I remember telling him about my nightmares, and he just talked to me in such a peaceful, calm tone. He's like, well, why don't you just try to think about flowers and rainbows and like really pretty things, and like tell yourself that that's what you think, what you want to think about and what you want to dream about right before you go to bed. He's like, just give that a try. And then I never had nightmares again. Like I followed, like it's like a 6-year-old to a 6-year-old conversation. He gave me this advice, I went with it, and like no more nightmares.
mm,
I thought that was pretty cool.
Well, and that totally makes sense because, you know, just like kids watching a scary movie and having nightmares afterward, um, it absolutely, you know, especially I think with kids, you kind of reflect more directly like what's been happening, or what fear or happiness, you know, you encountered that day or recently. I think it's got a huge effect, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, One thing I'm getting from this conversation is how impressionable our childlike minds are, and if we can sort of mm, have the intention to kind of have that childlike mind um, when it comes to well our dreams, but also just you know our waking lives as well. Um, then maybe we would have a lot more control over just the way things go. We'd have more autonomy over uh, our dreams and our waking life.
If we can lucid manipulate our lives the way we want it in real life, that'd be great, huh?
Well,
We
yeah,
kind of can, I
absolutely.
guess.
I kind of have this theory that, our waking life's not really that much different than our dreams, and it's just the duration's a bit longer. Um, I there's like all this talk going around the internet like over the last, I don't know, decade or something about manifestation, right? Manifest or blah blah blah, manifest, manifest, manifest. And I've come to understand it like we're all masters at manifestation. It's just that very few of us are really have any intention behind what we're creating, right? We're, we we create with our fears, just as uh, and with our and like with what we're used to. We come to expect things to be just the way that they are, and so we end up creating more of that, more of that, more of that, and um, we're all masters at it. It's just how much intention are we putting into it? So just like you wanted to intend to dream about rainbows and flowers and pretty things, and you were able to do that, and you never had a nightmare again, I think you can sort of dream the dream in waking life and do the same thing. It's a little bit more of a hurdle to get over, because we have that solidity to deal with.
Yeah, I've noticed like when I did lucid dream, the last one I remember, it was really thrilling because I could go anywhere and do anything. And I realized, I mean, I know theoretically we could do that in our real life. I mean, yeah, you're not gonna fly. I mean, I don't know. Well, we're not gonna fly, but I could just go wherever I wanted, knock on whatever door I wanted, talk to whoever I wanted. So I have limits, but I don't have as many limits as I put on myself in my waking life that I think I should, I guess. I have all these limits. Maybe they're just, because of my conditioning. But theoretically, you know, I could go, I don't know. I can't come up with anything right now, but I could go in the backyard and dig a hole and make a swimming pool. And I mean, it would just take way longer than it would in a dream, because in a dream, so I mean, obviously I'm rambling about something really stupid, but the
No.
idea of it is I feel like I wish I took that around with me in my waking life more often. The idea of just going up to someone on the street or some, for instance, and just uh not having anything holding me back from certain uh uh from doing certain things that I normally wouldn't do, I guess is the vague kind of general way of putting it. There's something freeing about being in the dream, and lucid is, there's no limits, basically. Or if there are, you don't know what they are yet. And I think that idea of not knowing what your limits are yet is kind of exciting. And I guess maybe I can talk to Brendan and maybe we can program myself to have less limits in my waking life. But that is one thing I'd like to take from my dreams, I think, is getting rid of just random limits that don't really exist, but they're there because I think they're there.
Right.
Yeah.
I'd like to chime in. I think a lot of the time, and when I say a lot, I think 99.9% of the time that we think there's a limit, there probably isn't.
Yeah.
I think we often box ourselves in, because throughout history, with a million different aspects of life. People have proven everyone else wrong when everyone said this was impossible. There's no way this guy can do it. And he physically, they're like, it's not even close, and they did it. And how did they do it? Because they were had enough belief, faith in themselves that they believed they could do it, and they knew they could do it, even if probably they shouldn't have thought that. And they did it. They did it through perseverance and all that kind of stuff. But a lot of it is that first hurdle is the mental hurdle, actually. That first hurdle is, I actually, like, the older I get, the more childish notions I get for this kind of thinking of, like, we actually could do probably almost anything. Like, it might be limitless. It just because we don't know how to do it or we haven't done it doesn't mean it can't be done.
Mm-hmm.
And that goes with everything, I think, in life, right? Just because you haven't done it yet doesn't mean you can't do it. Doesn't mean just because no one in this earth that you know of has ever done it doesn't mean that you can't do it.
I mean, think of all the shit that the government's pulled off. You know what I mean? So think what we can do as individuals.
That's a good one.
It's true. They don't have the limits that they programmed me anyway to have limits, and they know, yo, we can get these guys to do this, and they'll do it. And if they don't, we'll spend more money on propaganda to get them to do it, and then maybe they'll do it.
I'm absolutely blown away by this conversation. Because I think that there's a lot to that. Max,
Now what? It's just somebody walking. No big deal.
oh, Ruth,
I'm sorry. Dog was barking. I'm sorry.
that's it. That's all right. We're really glad to have you here, Ruth and Anne. You just joined kind of late. Welcome.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Oh no, it's fine. I'm so happy you're here. Um, I was just thinking, like, wow, Max, like what you said is incredible. Um, and again, this is the whole reason why I've created this. Well, it's not the whole reason because I can't articulate all of it. There's so many reasons why I started this, but it's one of the reasons why I created this, and it's really to help people to expand their possibility in their lives. I do think that we really are unlimited, and maybe the reason that we are experiencing limitation is because there's so many haters, if you will, other people who say, no, you can't do that, you can't do that. So, like, I mean, like, the reality that we live in is absolutely unbelievable. It's like hard to explain. Like, it's hard to understand. Like, what is this? What is this reality that we're in, and where did it come from? Maybe it is something that was dreamed into reality, and we've forgotten. And maybe at one time, uh, you know, we were more in unison in our thinking, and we were able to create in physicality from our dreams more directly, but we've forgotten how to do it, or we've been suppressed, or whatever. And it's a far out thought, but it's possible, I think.
No, I agree with that. I mean, they say everything is vibrating, so at a certain level, that's true. We know it's true, I guess it could be true. I don't know, I guess, because this feels like a hard chair, and I don't feel like, you guys don't look like you're vibrating, but I also do know that we don't see, there's a lot of the world that we don't see on our visual spectrum. There's a lot of stuff we don't, there's a lot we don't know about our past, and what I do, like, I think, like, telepathy. Why can't I say that word? Is
Telepathy.
Yeah, telepathy is real, and that's something some people can do. We all probably have the ability to do it if we knew how to do it. So we have all these skills that we could potentially have. And so you could be right about like how this world is manipulatable, I guess, is yeah, I'm
Well,
gonna
and
break.
who's to say that this isn't a dream? Like maybe our real life is the dream and our dream is the real life.
I wondered that for sure.
Something
Well,
that kind of goes along with that is I was listening recently to a podcast called the Telepathy Tapes, and in the telepathy tapes, they say that that all these children, these nonverbal autism children, they all are having this same dream, and this dream is that they all go to this place called the Hill,
the
where
hill,
they
yeah.
are able to communicate and share all their knowledge, and these are nonverbal, autistic children that are having this experience that are able to communicate through this. You have to listen to the entire podcast, but the telepathy tapes, it's really interesting, and I think it ties in nicely with dreams, especially because they are using dreamscape as this connecting force between them for sharing knowledge. So I just wanted to jump in and throw that out there real quick.
Anecdotally, I have heard of people I know who have had matching dreams. Like they dreamed of somebody and then they called them the next day and they said, I had a dream about you. And they're like, I had a dream about you. And so there is some sort of weird connective tissue. I also know some people who claim to have talked to dead people from their life in the dreams. And I believe it. I mean, there's something, it's it's like there's this other realm that we are attached to, but during our waking life, whatever the waking life is, whether it's a dream or real, for some reason while we're here, I guess we're like detached from it somewhat. I mean, and maybe we don't have to be, but we tend to be because of our 9 to 5 lifestyle, I guess.
Mhm.
Got to pay the bills.
It's funny, all these topics like remind me of random dreams I've had in the past. Like I'm just writing down like, oh yeah, there's this dream I could tell you about and this one and this one. And like I'm like running a list of like random dreams that like have meant something in the past. It's kind of fun to revisit them.
Well, I'm giving you guys 2-minute warning. If you want to and you want to share a dream and you can do it within 2 minutes, one that's coming up for you, go for it. Or if not, that's fine
Nah, that's too much pressure to do it in 2 minutes.
too. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, so this is where it's at. This is exactly what I was hoping for. I love this conversation. Like it really is about possibility. Like anything's really possible. Like anything really is possible. And I think, the more collective sort of belief or encouragement or support that an idea has, the more possible it is. So um, I really appreciate everybody being here and really helping to create that possibility.
Woo.
Woo.
Thank you for putting this together. This is such a fun group.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
thank you.
You're welcome.
And
Thanks, everybody.
about the telepathy tapes, if anybody came from Benny's group, whatever, Sovereign Secrets,
Yep.
I posted in the Sovereign Secrets free group about the telepathy tapes. That was one of my first posts in there.
Nice.
Thank you.
So the links in there for it, but you can find it on most podcast forums.
Awesome.
Cool.
Well, thank you, everybody. I'll turn this conversation into some kind of content, and I'll post it so you can revisit it. And yeah, I really look forward to seeing all of you again next week.
Okay, nice to
Thanks
see
so
you.
much.
Thank you.
All
Thanks,
right.
guys.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Amazing.